What is your experience after opening up when a woman says you're too closed off emotionally? Woman will ask me to open up and be more emotional. But then when I do get emotional, they are not empathetic and tell me to be a man. Is this a common experience for other guys? How do you handle it? Am I doing something wrong or do they just not know what they actually want? Edit. Thanks for all the replies. I'm reading them all. But not having the energy to or even knowing what to reply. But reading them all is making me feel a little better. Thank you all. My mother, my grandmother, and 3 of my 4 exes all told me they wanted me to open up to them and stop being so closed off, and then when I did I got told to not be so sensitive and be more of a man. The one ex that didn't was genuinely just a good person, and it was my own immaturity that caused us to break up. I literally opened up to my woman a few days ago, and then when we were laying in bed she poked fun at the things I opened up about. I instantly expressed how fucked up it was of her to do so and told her I'm never opening up to her again. She apologized, but still I DK how I feel about it. It was never a good experience. It's like they lose all respect to me and then use those stuff when we fight or as an excuse to hurt me. I truly believe it's the same as women and flowers. Women a lot of times want you to get them flowers not because they want flowers but because they want you to want to give them flowers. They want you to feel as if you can open up to them without actually opening up to them. From my experience, if you want out of the relationship and are feeling too lazy to do it yourself, just open up to her. She'll do the breakup for you. Only partially. Yes. She fell out of love. This type of thread always goes in a similar manner. Majority will say don't do it because of bad past experiences. But some women will still pop up to say how we're wrong. They don't want your true emotions. They want those emotions that they consider correct and pleasant for them. This is what many of them actually want. Other expressions of your emotions can be used against you. It got used against me. Very good. Made the relationship more intimate. Woman will ask me to open up and be more emotional. But then when I do get emotional, they are not empathetic and tell me to be a man. If this is what your woman says, then you're with the wrong woman. Not saying they are easy to find. But there are plenty of women who genuinely want men to open up and are more than willing to support them when they do. They stop talking to me. This is why men close off emotionally. They don't really care, and when it's addressed they run. They are selfish and don't give a fuck about our feelings in reality. They just don't care. Pretty traumatic actually, and not just one time. I am convinced that this is not something that really works out under most circumstances. I don't know what it is, maybe it's the gender dynamic, who knows. In my experience, opening up with a woman will put distance between the two of you, quite the opposite of my male friends. Even the biggest superficial bros became very supportive when I talked about a deep issue. It's fairly common. They want you to open up only about things they think are manly. 3 different women in my life convinced me to be more open. 2 cheated shortly after, and the 3rd one used it to belittle and degrade me. Don't open up to women you're in relationships with. That's either for guy friends or women you'll never want a relationship with. Relatable. Men don't often share their feelings with women because then you have to still deal with your feelings, but now also her reaction to your feelings, which is never good. Honesty about little things is good. But major problems, even our wives don't want to hear about them. Everything you say to a woman can and will be used against you at a future time. Maybe 5 seconds. Maybe 5 years. But it will be. Count on it. I cried openly one time while dating my ex. 2-3 years later I got coffee with her just to catch up, and she brought it up like that was some pathetic time. I had cried about stress and depression and she made me feel like shit about it. Meanwhile, she would cry watching a Disney movie and I never belittled her for it. Just support. Even if it's as simple as grieving someone's death, I feel I'm better off hiding it. Emo bites me on the ass without fail. They want you to open up and tell them how you admire them for their selfless sacrifices and how much you love them and are afraid of losing them. I had a moment where I cried a few weeks ago in front of my wife, married 5 years, and yesterday we got into an argument and she knew I was upset. And she proceeded to mock me crying and did the boo-hoo hand gesture under her eyes with her two fists. I instantly regretted letting my emotions out in front of her a few weeks ago. I'm still pissed about it today. She's apologized, but it doesn't mean shit to me, honestly. You know, all that squishy shit that really hurts for people to poke? She sees where that is. The instant she gets mad at you, she's gonna take a sledgehammer to it. Opened up a little. Immediately judged. Never again. It's funny how women get to share their emotions in whatever way and situation they want. And we just have to deal with it and support them because that's the role they've designated for us. For us men, however, we need to fill out a fucking 10-step checklist beforehand to make sure we're not somehow inconveniencing her by daring to feel an unauthorized emotion. And that's deemed to be progressive. Don't tell me that. Do you know how that makes me feel? Yeah. I completely opened myself up emotionally to my wife about 10 years ago after she told me that I was too closed off, and our relationship is now better than it ever was before. I suspect my experience is probably quite a bit different than most men. Posting answer here. The reason it's probably different is because we've been best friends since we were 12 years old. And never really developed the same attitudes and outlooks towards things that most other people seem to have. Every relationship I've ever been in has ended within a month of me opening up about my feelings. God forbid a man cries when something bad happens to him and he tries to confide in the one person he should be able to confide in. Men and women alike, but I think women more so, invariably lose respect for me if I don't LARP as a stoic. It's disheartening and annoying, but I'm not going to clam up altogether just to be liked. It's cool at first, then she's gonna get pissed and use it as a weapon. She won't see it as a big deal and will probably try to emasculate you for having feelings. In the battlefield of relationships, women have most of the weapons. Don't give them the ammo. Taking my emotional dump in front of her is sexually repulsive. So of course I learned to never do that with my sex partner. Those of you who respond to this with a negative example, would you mind share more about what you told her? What made you feel like she wanted you to do it? And what you think she meant when she said what she said? Biggest pussy dryer there is. Never worked out well. Bad. Always bad. She either loses all attraction to you or throws it in your face the next time she gets mad. Never ever do it. I don't know what kind of girls you dating or settled down with. I am pretty open with my feelings and insecurities with the girl I am dating or seeing. Till date I have never got dumped. Is it the race or culture of these girls? I date Asian because I am Asian. But then when I do get emotional, they are not empathetic and tell me to be a man. You'll never win playing someone else's game. They lose respect real fast and it's a long road back to the begging. Only positive results for me usually lead to better conversation and understanding, and at worst, no noticeable difference. Highly recommend everyone go into the relationship pretty open, as it's that switch that causes some men to see a negative reaction. Sometimes it's just too much baggage to unload on a partner at once.